So, let's talk about the word recession. You hear it all the time, right? On the news and conversations, and it almost always brings with it this sense of unease.
You hear phrases just like this, and it's totally natural to feel uncertain. It sounds really serious, and look, in many ways it is. But a lot of the time, that worry comes from not quite knowing what the word recession actually means.
So, what is really happening when we talk about a recession? Let's try to strip away all the noise and just get to a simple, clear understanding of what it's all about.
Okay, we'll start with the most basic question you could ask. What is it? Let's just get a simple definition on the table.
At its very core, a recession is just a significant slowdown in the economy. It's not some kind of sudden collapse or a crash. The key word to remember here is slowdown. It's more of a gradual change of pace.
So what does this slowdown actually look like in the real world? Well, it kind of creates a chain reaction. When people and businesses start buying less, companies earn less money. And when they earn less, they can't really expand as quickly, so hiring might slow down or even stop altogether. And in some cases, to cut costs, they might have to let people go. In simple terms, probably the easiest way to think about it is to imagine the economy as a big system where money is constantly flowing. In a healthy economy, that flow is fast and steady. During a recession, that same flow just gets, slower and more sluggish.
You know, that idea of flow can feel a little abstract, so let's understand it with a simple example to make it more tangible.
Okay, just picture a small, healthy town. People have jobs. They use their wages to go out and buy things at local shops. Those shop owners then have an income, which they use to pay their employees and buy goods for themselves. You see, money is moving in this healthy circle, from a person to a business and right back again. Now let's introduce just one change. For some reason, the townspeople start to feel a little bit uncertain about the future. Maybe they hear some bad news. As a result, they decide, you know what, I'm gonna save a little more and spend a little less, just in case. And this is where that chain reaction begins. First, people spend less. Because of that, the local shops earn less. To cope, those businesses might have to cut their workers' hours, or maybe even lay someone off. Now those workers have less money, so they spend even less. The initial slowdown starts to spread, and that, right there, is a recession in miniature.
That town example is a simple illustration. But in the real world, what causes that initial uncertainty that makes people spend less in the first place?
Well, there's rarely just one single cause you can point to. It's usually a combination of factors. Things like high inflation, which makes everyday items more expensive, or rising interest rates, making loans and mortgages cost more. It could even be a sudden, unexpected event that just shakes everybody's confidence.
But no matter what the specific trigger is, the core pattern is always the same. Just like in our little town example. Something causes confidence to drop. That leads to less spending, and less spending means less income is flowing through the whole economy.
So we know what a recession is and why it happens. But what does it actually feel like for the average person? Let's talk about the human impact. One of the most direct impacts is on the job market. So in a healthy economy, there are typically lots of job openings. But during a recession, as businesses cut back, the number of available jobs shrinks, and that creates a tougher, more competitive environment for anyone looking for work. And even for people who already have a job, the whole feeling in the air changes. There's a greater sense of insecurity. Companies are less likely to give out big raises, so salary growth slows down. Add to that more competition for any jobs that are available, and you just get this general atmosphere of uncertainty. That really defines the feeling of a recession.
Hearing all of this, I know it can sound alarming, but the goal here isn't to create fear. It's to build understanding and to put this whole concept into the proper perspective. So let's be very, very clear about what a recession is and what it is not. It is a temporary slowdown, and yes, it can be a painful and difficult part of an economic cycle. But what it is not is a permanent collapse. It is not the end of the economy.
Economies naturally move in cycles. There are periods of growth, which are then followed by periods of slowdown or recession. And critically, those slowdowns are eventually followed by periods of recovery and then growth once again. A recession is just one phase, not the final destination.
So what's the most important takeaway here? It's that understanding a concept is always more powerful than being afraid of it. A recession is simply a period where the economy's engine slows down. It can be challenging for sure, but it is a temporary and natural part of how economies work. Ultimately, in moments of uncertainty, clarity matters far more than fear.